There's also a spam folder. It's like, well, what's spam and why would it be there? Spam is email that comes to your inbox that you don't want. Once you have an email address and once it starts getting out there, companies start finding out about it, and eventually somebody, it gets on somebody's list to start sending you things about, wouldn't you like this miracle drug? Or, gee, I'm in Nigeria, and if you just won $1 million if you just send me 100,000, and things like that you don't want to see and you don't want to click on and you don't want to believe, and Gmail tries to do as good a job as they can with filtering those. So when they see those emails that come in that are going out to 100,000 other people, and it's from a suspicious source, they won't show up in your inbox. They'll automatically push them aside into this spam folder. You might say, well, what? If I don't want to see it, why would they even make it available to me? Why don't they just delete it? And the answer is sometimes they have they don't have people looking at all these emails. They have computer programs that are looking at all these emails. And sometimes those computer programs, they tweak them a little bit and they get a little overly aggressive. So they'll put something in your spam folder that was from somebody that you really did want to receive it. And so if there's an email that somebody sent you and said, oh, I sent you this email, didn't you get it? No, I didn't see it. Well, I'll send it to you again. Didn't you see it? No, I didn't. Well, then you might want to check your spam folder to see if there's anything from them. Because every once in a while, email that you want to receive in your inbox actually gets accidentally put in your spam folder. The last thing below that is trash, and this is messages that you've deleted. Very similar to the recycle bin in Windows. If you have a file and you say, okay, I don't want this anymore, I'll move it to the recycle bin, it's not gone completely, it's just temporarily set aside until the recycle bin gets emptied. In the case of the trash of your email, it automatically gets emptied every 30 days or so. So if you delete something, it will go to the trash folder. And then after 30 days, it will get deleted from the trash folder. So if you accidentally delete something, you can say, oh no, wait, where does it go? Oh, well, it's still available to you. And if you click on trash, you can see. So if I delete one of these messages, I delete that. And now if I go to my trash folder, I can see there's the message that I deleted. Oh, I didn't want to delete that. I can either delete it forever, or I can report it as spam. So if something comes into your email that you said, no, I don't want to receive this, they should respond. If you mark it as spam, then Google will take this and it will add it to their information base to eventually perhaps stop delivering those to people's inboxes. I could also just move it back to my inbox. I didn't mean to delete that, that was a mistake. And so now my trash folder is empty. It tells me, it gives me some information that messages that have been trashed more than 30 days will be automatically deleted, but I have no conversation in my trash. Who needs to delete it when you have so much storage? Because, brief advertisement for Google, these free accounts, they have lots and lots of storage capacity, so you don't need to delete messages, but you don't want your inbox to get too cluttered. So what can you do about that? Well, you can save them. And there's different ways of organizing and saving them. You can create what Google calls labels. And down here at the bottom, underneath the trash, there's something called categories, and then something called manage labels or create new label. So if you want, you can create a label, and then they'll show up in your list of labels. And it's like it's what most people would think of as a folder. You give it a name, and you put email into that location, and you do that. And the other option is to rely on Google's searching capabilities, because Google is famous for being able to search the internet. They also have some very good tools for searching your mailbox. And if you have a really good searching capability, you don't need such a good organizing system. If I have 100,000 pieces of paper in my sitting in my desk at home, but I could somehow scan through all of them in half a second and find which one I wanted, it really wouldn't matter if they were in folders or not, because I'd have a really good scanning system. Google has these really good scanning systems that scan through things really, really fast, and so you don't necessarily need to put things carefully into bins and folders and things like that. So Google recognizes this, and they said, okay, well, we've got this good search capability. If you don't want to do filing, you don't have to use labels. You can just put everything in an archive. Archive is like just a big storage container that you throw everything in, and you say, okay, well, here's an email. Okay, great. Here's an email that has a recipe for guacamole. Great, I'll put it in the archive. I might want it someday. And you do all this stuff, and you just say, okay, I can find it later. And you probably can if you can remember enough to find it. So the way you do a search, I'm going to go back to the inboxes as a starting point, is up at the very top. There's this magnifying glass, which is Google's symbol for doing a search. And if I search from here, it will search through the mailboxes. If I searched up here, it would search Google across the internet. So I'm going to search for the word class, and it shows up in one place, or in one conversation with Shelley, and thank you for teaching this class. And that happened to be in the inbox. If I had moved that to my archive, it would have found it just as well. But right now I'm going to take these messages from Martha, and I'm going to put them in the archive. There's just a simple button that this with an arrow pointing down, and that's the archive. Google tries to make it easy because the archive is sort of the general place where you would put your emails. So I'm going to send those to the archive. They're not in my inbox. So if I keep my inbox so it doesn't have too many things in it, it's much easier for me to see when I see new messages and figure out if there's something I need to do. Keeping your inboxes clean is important, and so come back next week and learn about managing your email inbox. Steve will be talking more about that in detail, and he may be covering some of the same things that I'm covering as well. So now I'm going to search for contact up here, and it found the two things that were in my archive, as well as the one thing that was in my inbox that had contact under image contacts. Adding attachments you can do once when you're if you want to send somebody a photo and you're composing a message. I talked about who you're sending it to, the subject line, the text that you're writing. There's also some things at the bottom that you can do to format some of the text. So if I want to say hello, but I want to say hello in huge font, I can say hello in huge font. I can also insert a photo or add another attachment. There's a paperclip to attach a file. So if I wanted to send my resume to somebody, I could use this and then find it in the documents folder.
How do you insert a photo?
Or insert a photo. It would probably be a photo from your computer, not
I think there's photos
camera,
on here,
but,
so you could try it.
So I clicked upload photos, and it says to drag the photos here. So now I'm going to go over to my pictures library, go to vacation pictures. And I'm going to drag this photo up there. And this one. And so here's my message that I was composing, and it's got those two photos. BCC, when you're sending an email to people, is the notion of if you don't want to share email addresses of everybody you're sending it to, but you want to send something to a large group of people, BCC stands for blind carbon copy, and it can be useful if you're sending out something to your 20 friends and you don't want each of the friends to have everybody's email address, but you want to let them know about something that's going on. I've seen this particularly, if there's somebody in the family who's sick and you want to send out a newsletter to a bunch of people and let them know what's going on, but you don't want to send it out to everybody and have them be able to do a reply to all, because that just gets loud and annoying. But people can see who it was from, but they can't see whoever it was sent to. It's called the BCC option in the compose. So if I hit compose, right now it says who I'm sending it to. If I off on the right, it gives me the option of adding people that I want to send it to that won't, so the email addresses won't be shared. The people who receive it will see that it was who it was sent from, and they'll know that it was sent to them, but they won't see who else is on the list that it was sent to. Email etiquette: don't reply to all unless everyone wants to hear what you have to say. Don't forward jokes to everyone you know. And be cautious about emails you receive. Some are scams, some are viruses. Don't click on links or don't click on links or click on attachments or open them until you're sure you can trust it. And so, if you get something that you're really suspicious about, you can always send an email back to the person who sent it to you, saying, I got this document from you which I wasn't expecting. Is this legitimate or not? To learn more, there's some websites and sources here. The Introduction to Computers, Module 7, talks about using email.
And I have those if you want some.
Walks through and has screenshots of how to do some of the things that I ran through quickly today in class. GCF Learn Free has some modules for Gmail. I did not fill in what this module is for. Oops. Next week, managing your inbox is PRC Tech Tuesday. And then you can always use Google saying, well, how do I do such and such in Gmail? Use Google to find it, and it'll probably give you some good instructions on how to do that. When you're using a public computer, and you've been reading your Gmail, and that's fine, it's perfectly safe. But if you walk away from the computer, then somebody else can walk up and say, oh, look, it's a Gmail account. I think I'll use this and send things to a bunch of people and confuse them, or I'll do all this stuff. So when you're using Gmail or any email, and you're done on the public computer, you want to log off. From the inbox or anywhere, it's in the upper right-hand corner. It'll have your email address, and there's a little triangle next to it. The triangle in Windows means click here to see more options. And one of the options down here is to sign out.
Patty 222, please. Patty 222.
So then you can say sign out, and it's gone, and it's
Just click here. And then the arrow.
and then you can close the browser as well.
Yeah.
To be sure.
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.